Anovura meso, anovura tebe, anokaya marigi.
December 2023, and we continue with our coverage of the fallout following the Zimbabwe 2023 elections. And today I need to be very, very quick, as I need to catch my flight within a short space of time. And we are going to continue. We're not going to stop covering the Zimbabwe story, as it is right in the middle. This is history in the making. If you don't understand what is happening here, you will be caught by surprise by the events that are just about to occur in Zimbabwe. And I'm going to be unpacking these events for you as they occur. So specifically, the government of President Mnangagwa is in a very, very tight spot. They're in a very, very tight corner. President Mnangagwa has never been in this position ever before. Everything that he does not have as much weight as it had before. Today, he just made an announcement of a cabinet, and you can see that no one is excited. It is of no consequence. Everything that the Zimbabwe government is doing right now is of no consequence. But let me unpack what has happened this week, and then let me show you what is going to happen within the next few weeks, starting with the issues around SADC. So if you look at the CCC guys, they are totally, I can say, they've been let down by the situation. Many young people, they feel that the situation is getting out of hand. It's getting out of control. But that is not the case. In fact, Nelson Chamisa is firmly in control of the situation in Zimbabwe. And as you will see within the next few weeks, President Mnangagwa will have to reverse most of the things that he's doing now. If he does not understand that he needs Nelson Chamisa, he needs to negotiate with him within Zimbabwe for things to move. But let me start with what has happened this week, and then let's look at the implications. For a start, the Zimbabwean media, led by Joe Charamba and Nick Mangwana, they have produced a number of stories this weekend, and these stories were in the Sunday Mail and also in the Herald. And these are perfectly good newspapers. When I'm in Zimbabwe, I read the Herald and the Sunday Mail every day. And in fact, when I'm in South Africa, I read all the Zimbabwe newspapers every day. And the problem that the guys have in the Zimbabwe government is they don't know how to proceed. Right now, President Mnangagwa and the guys around him, they don't know how to proceed. They are pretending to go through the motions, but they know that what they're doing right now is temporary. That is why you see that they've backed down. So they backed down. If you look at the story in the Herald today, they have backed down from all the harsh positions that they were taking. So now what they're saying is that they are willing to take the recommendation from SADC, but they're not willing to take it now. They want to take it after certain processes. They don't want to accept the final report now, but they want to accept it after it is signed by President Hakainde Hichilema and the President of Tanzania and so forth. They want the whole troika to sign the report. So you can go and read those newspapers. And guys, I'm so sorry. Yesterday, I promised to send the documents. And I woke up to over 3,000 requests. So I cannot obviously send to 3,000 people. So I was going to send you links to this story. But what we're going to do is we're going to create a group for Gabakwe Media. We've got someone now who is going to be managing those groups. And then we'll start sharing these documents in the group. So one day within the next week, I'm going to invite everyone to the groups so that I can share documents with you. So I want to share with you this story later on this week, whereby Joe Charamba and the guys in the Ministry of Information, they have backed down from the original position. They've realized now that it's President Mnangagwa who needs to make the first move. SADC has already concluded. SADC has made their report. The final report is there. And it's now President Mnangagwa who has to go and reverse that final report. It's not SADC who's supposed to come to Zimbabwe. It's not Chamisa who is supposed to do something. Right now, everybody is waiting for President Mnangagwa to make his move. So it's President Mnangagwa who has to go to Botswana and appeal that report. That is where everything is. Don't listen to anything else. And the guys in the Zimbabwe government, they understand it. The problem they have is that when they comment without reading. So first of all, they comment and then they go and read the documents. But here, I read the documents first, then I tell you what is going to happen. So that is the position. SADC's position is final. The Zimbabwean election was not free and fair. And if President Mnangagwa wants to reverse that position, he has to go to Botswana and appeal that position, not through any other structure, but straight to the SADC. So not to head of summit or whatever. He has to follow a process. There's a process which needs to be followed to appeal these reports, these electoral reports. Right. Now let's go to what has happened. Zambia. The Zambians are very, very angry with President Mnangagwa. They've been demonstrating today. President Hakainde Hichilema's party has demonstrated today against President Mnangagwa, against people like Rutendo Benson Machinyarare, Linda Masarira, and Patrick Chinamasa. If you look at what Rutendo and Linda Masarira did last week, they produced a video in which they blatantly lied that there was a military base in Zambia, and they started to call upon all the African countries to isolate Zambia. I don't know if you've seen this video, but it's not worth watching. It's total lies. Zambia is a well-respected country, and the Zimbabwean guys, they need to start understanding that they have to take what Zambia is doing, what President Hakainde Hichilema is doing, as neighborly advice, not to fight him, but to say, sit back and digest. What is he saying? What can we fix? Because what President Hakainde Hichilema is saying is very simple. Fix your elections, then you have more credibility. And at the moment we have the opposite. We don't have credibility in Zimbabwe. Our elections are in shambles. So that is the position. SADC's position stands, and it's final. And the Zimbabwe government has accepted it. People in the Ministry of Information have accepted it. What is left is for President Mnangagwa to act. There is no one else left to act but President Mnangagwa. He has to go and appeal that report. If he doesn't do so, there is nothing that will happen. People will just be in limbo. SADC is not going to force him, but that position stands. Similarly, the AU position is final. The Carter Center position is final. The European Union position is final. That election is not free and fair, and all the observers are agreed. So this is where we are. Then let's go to the elders. If you look at the press, the government press, they admit that the elders were summoned to Zimbabwe because the elections were not free and fair. But they also agree that they blocked the elders. So it's in the newspapers. Go to look at the Sunday newspaper. Go and look at the Sunday Mail on Sunday and the Herald today. They have clearly said that they blocked the elders. And I explained this to you last week when I was with Mr. Tinashe Jonasi here. The government of Zimbabwe has done the unthinkable. They have blocked the elders who wanted to mediate in Zimbabwe. They have not allowed them to mediate, similar to what they did when President Ramaphosa sent the presidential envoy. So the Zimbabwe government continues to be wrong. They've totally taken a very hard stance on this issue. So as far as dialogue is concerned, it has not started because the elders were blocked from coming to Zimbabwe. And then let's go to the game plan now. I want to, as I said, my flight is in a few hours' time. The game plan by President Mnangagwa is very, very simple. He understands the CCC. He understands Nelson Chamisa. He understands the people around Nelson Chamisa. So he's got a three-pronged approach or strategy of dealing with Nelson Chamisa. And I want you to understand how effective this strategy is. but this time it won't work. So the first thing is that President Mnangagwa knows that President Hakainde Hichilema is very principled. So he won't change that position that he has taken. And he's very strong. President Hakainde Hichilema does not fear President Mnangagwa at all. Other presidents are afraid. But President Hakainde Hichilema is fearless. He can face President Mnangagwa and tell him off about this issue. So what he has decided to do is to isolate him. First, among other African presidents, by claiming that he is working with the West to bring a military base in Southern Africa, whereas Botswana is trying to remove the same military base from Africa. And this has been pushed by people, like I said, like Linda Masarira and Rutendo. They've been pushing this narrative, and they've been sponsoring this video in Zambia. They've also tried to sponsor some political parties, some small political parties in Zambia, to go against President Hakainde Hichilema. And they've started fighting a social media war in Zambia. So they want to isolate President Hakainde Hichilema. But as I said, it's not working because President Hakainde Hichilema has done nothing wrong. He's a very principled person, and he's not going to waver from his current position. So remember, I'm talking about the strategy of President Mnangagwa. So the first one is to isolate President Hakainde Hichilema. The second strategy is to frustrate CCC members with the depressing news. So every day, they are going to bombard social media with the frustrating news for CCC people, so that everywhere you look, something is happening that will frustrate you. Like they are appointing people here, they tell you you're appointing your people, they tell you that your people are now in parliament, they misrepresent news, they blatantly lie about the situation until the CCC people are so frustrated that they don't even want to be CCC members. This is one of the second strategies, which is to frustrate CCC members. And obviously, the third strategy is to allow the passage of time to normalize the situation. So as time passes, ZANU-PF is getting more and more normal. Zimbabweans are used to a hard life. And they're hoping that as time goes, then everyone will take this as normal. So that is the three-pronged strategy by President Mnangagwa, and he's going to ignore everything and pretend as if nothing happened, as if the election went normally, and after a year or so, everyone will have forgotten and life will go on as normal. On the other hand, Nelson Chamisa's strategy is very, very simple. Chamisa will stand on the observer reports. Then he's going to lobby the SADC to block President Mnangagwa from becoming chairperson of the SADC Troika. That is key, because if President Mnangagwa becomes chairperson there, the whole SADC report is dead. They're going to find ways of reversing it. Similarly, at the AU, they're going to try to get Chief Charumbira there to become the president of the Pan-African Parliament. Remember, the Pan-African Parliament, that is where issues that go to the AU are debated. So ED is going to try to get Chief Charumbira back there. If he doesn't manage, he will try to get someone as just like Chief Charumbira to get in there. And then they want to block the report there. They can't block the EU, they can't block the Carter Center, but they don't care. They're only worried about these two reports. And then obviously, Chamisa is, the biggest challenge that Chamisa has got is to keep control of his people in parliament, people in councils. These people are now starting to get the benefits, and Chamisa is outside. So it's going to be very difficult for him to control them because they now have two priorities. So if you're in parliament, you've got the priorities in parliament. If you're in council, you've got priorities in council. The party becomes something else that is not really interesting to these people. So Chamisa's job is to keep these people engaged, and his audience, a massive following. Chamisa has got a massive following. And as I said to you, every day, every video that we do, it gets over 100,000 views. People love Nelson Chamisa, and he has to keep these people engaged. He has to keep these people informed. That is the challenge for Chamisa. So if you look at the solutions that we have, Nelson Chamisa is looking outside Zimbabwe for solutions. He's going to have to get support from President Hakainde Hichilema. He's going to have to get support from SADC. He's going to have to get support from EU, from Carter Center, or the people that did these election observer reports. Whereas President Mnangagwa is going to try to work from within. He doesn't care about isolation. He actually wants to stay within Zimbabwe and make sure that he wins locally and doesn't care about outside. But then what is going to happen? And I want to wrap this up very, very quickly. So the solution eventually is going to come from SADC. SADC is key. So I think Chamisa needs to remember this every day that he is doing anything. The solution is going to come from SADC because SIAC, which is the SADC Election Advisory Council, it needs to come back to Zimbabwe and make recommendation. So that is the next step. When SIAC comes back to Zimbabwe, the process of electoral reform is now in the hands of SADC. At the moment, SADC's observer mission has concluded, but they still need to come back and make those recommendations. And ZANU-PF has to agree to those recommendations. And there must be a clear roadmap. There must be a change in the way that elections are done in Zimbabwe. That is the problem. The system is wrong in Zimbabwe, so there must be reforms. So Chamisa needs to understand that he has to stick with SADC. He must reject everything else that does not align with SADC. So that is where the solution is going to come from. And then in the meantime, and I want Dr. Fedel to cover this. Ibo Mandaza covered a bit about the GNU today, various forms of the GNU. There is need to find Chamisa a position in the current setup. So whatever President Mnangagwa has done today, the appointment of all those people, that is jumping the gun. The actual process that needs to happen is for Chamisa to be involved, for Chamisa's people to be involved, for some form of negotiation to take place, and eventually for some unity government of some form or of some sort, or transitional government to take place. There is nothing that will move in Zimbabwe without Chamisa. So let me repeat this. There is nothing that will move in Zimbabwe without Chamisa. Chamisa is a significant player in the Zimbabwean politics. In fact, if you were to hold an election today and put President Mnangagwa here and put Chamisa here, Chamisa will win that election. So if I was President Mnangagwa, I will make sure that I include Chamisa. And I will not play this hardball game because it's like playing the soccer with a stone. Paper. That's what he's doing. He's playing house. He's not yet serious if he's doing what he's doing now. So this is where we are. And everyone eventually will have to sit and talk. And I know that SADC is eventually going to mediate those talks. So everywhere that we are, eventually we're going to come back to SADC. There are also going to be local players. The government of President Mnangagwa has got some of the most corrupt people in it. People that have got no interest. Even if things are collapsing around them, they don't care. And this is why the people in Zimbabwe are under such a difficult situation, because they've got no one to represent their interests. So outsiders will have to come, and President Hakainde Hichilema will have to play a very, very big part in making this happen. I'm so happy that President Hakainde Hichilema is there now. And I know that most guys in ZANU-PF doesn't understand this. President Hakainde Hichilema, very good for Zimbabwe. He is the person that when you look back in history, you're going to say, if there was no President Hakainde Hichilema, nothing was going to happen. So many level-headed Zimbabweans, they love a president like President Hakainde Hichilema. Very straightforward, to the point. He doesn't take nonsense from anybody. And as I always say, and I always want to end with this, Zimbabweans must stop being afraid of ZANU-PF. ZANU-PF is just a political party. And it has gotten us to this point where everything is falling apart. There must be a day when people should challenge ZANU-PF and make them account for what they're doing and not be afraid at all. You must not be afraid. Nothing will happen to you. Look what happened on Sunday at Barberfield Stadium. The Zimbabwean police and the Zimbabwean army, they are not enough against the people of Zimbabwe. And to stop all this that is happening, the guys in ZANU-PF, they must understand. These people like President Hakainde Hichilema are helping you. If this situation continues, eventually you're gonna lose everything. This is the thing which will happen to ZANU-PF. If you don't listen to people who are coming to help you, to have dialogue, to talk among yourself, you eventually lose everything. So every day when you see me here, this is what we're saying. We're not saying Mnangagwa must go. We're not saying Chamisa is the president. We're not saying only Chamisa must be in government. We're saying talk to him, talk to each other, come to a solution, fix the economy. Because if you don't, one day you're going to wake up and it won't be policemen being chased from the stadium. It will be policemen being chased everywhere. It will be your house being raided. You will see people bathing in your shower, like we see in other countries. So listen to the people that tell you that your situation in your country needs to be fixed. That is the message for ZANU-PF. If you don't listen, eventually you're going to lose everything. And this is where we are. And also these young guys that are there, that are coming and disrespecting presidents who are trying to resolve issues in Zimbabwe. That's un-African. You can't do that. You can't go out there and start disrespecting people. People are trying to help. There's no need for people to come to Zimbabwe and spend all that much time. They don't get anything. Don't think that President Hakainde Hichilema is being paid to do this. It's an African duty that is performing. And I think that the very, very senior guys in ZANU-PF understand it. And as I said, don't be afraid of ZANU-PF. No one will kill you. No one. ZANU-PF last killed people long back in the war. Now it's very hard for anyone to be killed by ZANU-PF. And let me explain to you that when I'm walking, I don't look left, I don't look right. I'm not even concerned about being killed myself. You must not be concerned. No one is going to get killed for saying, let us unite and fix our country. If you're afraid of being killed, this is the day you understand. The day when you're crossing the road and the car hits you, you understand that your death means nothing. You're going to be killed when you're walking to the shops. Because death is nothing. Don't be afraid of death. Don't be afraid of being killed. And ZANU-PF does not kill people. I told you I've been to the ZANU-PF head office. All you see inside there are people. So if you go to the ZANU-PF head office, there are no guns there. There are no people shooting people. It's just normal people like you and me. But your fear is holding you back. Challenge the ZANU-PF guys. Make sure that things work in our country. Make sure that these guys sit down and talk. Don't accept these hardline positions that are there in Zimbabwe. This is something that all Zimbabweans should say no. When you see those ZANU-PF guys making their speeches about puppets and all that, ignore them and tell them to get lost of those speeches. We want progress. And everyone wants progress. Everyone wants things to work in our country. And don't wait for the guys that are going to confront the police for you to start understanding what is going to happen. If you have a military coup in Zimbabwe, no one benefits. And for Chamisa, that is the worst outcome. If there's a military coup in Zimbabwe, Chamisa will lose everything. Right, let's look at some comments here before I leave. As I said, my flight is in a few hours. Promen, thank you very much. Gambako Media, the biggest media company in Zimbabwe. The good thing about Gambako Media is we've been here for 10 years. How many media houses do you know in Zimbabwe were there for 10 years? We're there for the past election, 2018 election. Who doesn't remember that? We're there before that election. When Pastor Ivan came out, we're on top of it. Everything that has happened, we've been on top of it. And I'm going to be here with you guys every day. The thing is, I don't get tired. And I'll never get tired of my country. You should not get tired of your country. That is the only country we've got. The foreigners, they will try to help us. But eventually, it is you, me, Chamisa, Mnangagwa that is going to help you. Mnangagwa is an old man. Very, very old man. In 10 years time, he won't be there. Chiwenga, very, very old man. Mohadi, very, very old man. Chamisa is 40 years old. In 30 years' time, you will still see Chamisa. You see. So if you're a ZANU-PF guy and you're planning your future on a guy that is going to be there for the next 5 years and he's not there, what are you thinking? Exactly. You need to become. Look at what they're appointing right now. Look at the impunity of appointing Mutuli Ngube after all that he has done in the past 5 years. John Mangunja, there is nothing changing. And is that the thing that you are saying, Vision 2030? Challenge these guys and make them work. If it's your old man who is messing up, what do? You sit there and say, old man, you're doing a great job. You go and tell these guys that they're not doing a good job. They need to improve the situation. And I think this is what is there. Eventually, we all have to work together. There is no other option. And I'm happy that Nelson Chamisa has done a very, very good job. This time, he didn't waste time. He's just waiting there. Everything will eventually come together. But SADC, a key player in what is going to happen next. And I think I also want to appreciate the guys at Baba Foods. That is the first time in Zimbabwe. You're going to look back and say, this is where everything started. And ZANU-PF, they are sitting now and they're calculating. I want them to get their calculators. If they do not see what is happening, the anger that is among the people, do not let the situation dictate events. ZANU-PF must dictate the situation, and I know that they are clever enough to do that. So let us wrap it up. I've got a long night ahead of me, guys, and tomorrow we'll be back. Probably Dr. Fedas Mutene will be here, or Chester. And if you want to have your own column here, if you want to take space here on Gambako Media and talk, you're welcome to do so. Please, guys, I'm not going to reply to all your emails because I'm so busy, and I got 3,000 messages yesterday asking for that file. So I eventually failed to send that file because WhatsApp limits the number of times you send. So as I said, we're going to set up a group. But if you want to have your column here where you talk, where you do editorials, we've got 178,000 followers on Facebook. We've got over 40,000 on YouTube. We've got a lot on Twitter, and every video we do here has got over 100,000 views. Come over and let's talk here. We're going to give you free space. We also give free advertising to guys who want to sell their goods. Once a week, I choose one person and we advertise their business. People are making serious money on these platforms. So let's make money. And as I said, I talk to ZANU-PF people every day. I talk to CCC people every day. You're all my brothers, and no one is going to kill me. Don't even come. If someone gives you money to kill Gambakwe, let's say you work there in government, someone say, go and kill Gambakwe. Take the money, go into your bus, go to a holiday, give your kids some food. Don't waste your time. You cannot be doing anything like that because it's a waste of time. In 10 years' time, the impact of what you're doing is nothing. That's why you see that these old guys we have in government, they don't care much. And they know that their time is limited. You, the young guys in ZANU-PF, young guys in CCC, work for a future. Let's get this thing on the road. And let's not waste time. Let's not be ruled by fear. Right. Thank you very much, everybody. And Tinashe is going to be back soon. They're asking me, where is Tinashe? I don't know about General Sanyatwe. All these things that you guys are asking me. Let the other people answer you, but I don't have the answers right now. What I know is that we are in the middle of history, in the making. If you do not understand what's happening now, you will think that nothing is happening. But this is the beginning of something great in our country. And President Hakainde Hichilema playing a very, very big part in this to happen. And Nelson Chamisa, always great, doing a great job. Nelson Chamisa is undergoing a lot from the current system, and I know that eventually it's going to come out ahead on all this. Thank you very much, everybody, and good night.
Kuno abo bano mama wanna get it, mama wanna get it nice. I know food I miss so I know food I tell I know God